What's up, guys? Welcome back to Loud Pedal Garage YouTube channel. Today's video, it's all about wheels and tires. Alright guys, if you remember in my introduction video, I showed all the parts that I was going to be putting on the 914 for this coming spring. This set of staggered Fuchs was part of it. I got a really good deal with my friend Thomas, thanks Thomas, on all the suspension stuff, brakes, and these wheels. So the wheels, the positive is they're exactly what I need. They're 15 by 7s in the front, 15 by 8s in the rear. They're straight and they're in relatively good shape. Thomas had stripped them, got all the paint off of them, and got them basically down to the factory anodization, which is really pretty thin and in bad shape right now. So two of the wheels, the two rears, had some curb rashing around the lip. I'll show that here on the screen. And they weren't terrible, but it was definitely something that was gonna annoy me and need to be fixed. So I took them to my friend Jason over at Shine Polishing, asked him what he could do. He had some stuff to kind of fill them in and blend, and got them all smoothed out. He said that they were just, it was really minor. It looked worse than it actually was. So got those all fixed, got them back. And then I have worked on one of them just to get a kind of a test procedure done, decide what kind of finish I want to do. And I've determined this finish. I'll show you guys here in a minute of what I want, what's going to go good on the 914. Remember, they don't need to be polished because this is supposed to be a race car. It's supposed to look like an old race car. They can't be perfect because they wouldn't have been, especially in a car that's been in a barn for 30 years. So this finish is going to lend itself really well to the car, especially once we get the accents painted. It's going to be an RSR style of paint. We're going to paint in between the spokes in a satin black. So that's going to look great. And I have 3 wheels left to do, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. But first, I'm going to go over tires. All right, guys. So 15-inch tires. They're getting really hard to come by. There's not a whole lot of selection. There's a good selection on straight R compound tires, and that would be fine if I was just sticking around here. I was doing track days and autocross, but I want to do some rallies, a lot of driving. I want to put a bunch of miles on this car. You know, I've got friends all over the Midwest, and everybody wants to get together and go drive. So I needed a set of tires that was gonna perform on the car like I need them to perform, but be able to last at least a summer because tires are expensive. So I went with these Continental Extreme Contact Force. So it's a 200 tread wear tire, which is like technically a track tire that is street legal, but with the lightweight of the car, and I'm gonna run a really mild camber and toe setup, so hopefully we get some good wear on it. But it's really a pretty beefy tire. You know, you've got this essentially slick in the middle of it, a couple of rain grooves, and then you got some V grooves coming out to the sides. I went with a 205 50, 205 50 15 for the fronts, and a 225 45 15 for the rears. So they're quite a bit shorter than the stock tires and quite a bit shorter than what I ran on it this last summer. So I'm gonna get a little bit more RPM out of it going down the interstate, which I'm not super stoked about, but I'm gonna be happy with the performance of the tire overall, I think. So if need be, I'll swap out gears in the transmission for the final drive to get a little better ratio. That is probably gonna be another project down the road. All right, so let's go over these wheels real quick and just show you where they're at and where they're going. So here is essentially what the stock wheel looks like. I don't remember what Thomas told me that he used to strip them with. I assume some sort of paint stripper or oven cleaner or something. There's a lot of different things you can use to strip these. So, you know, it's clean. it's like hazed up and oxidized a little bit, but you know what? Really, they're in excellent shape. They just look a little rough. So there's the two fronts. They look the same. They haven't been touched. This is what it looked like straight from Jason at Sureshine. After he did the repairs, look how crisp that lip looks. He is an absolute magician when it comes to aluminum, smoothing things, getting everything blended and looking nice. And he does polish stuff, and I know he wanted to polish these, but I just didn't want to commit to that because it just didn't feel like it fit this car very well. But, you know, as you can see, he did a really good job on that. So then here is the wheel that I have all cleaned up. It's not perfect, but it's clean, it's consistent. I think it's gonna look really good with those accents painted black. You know, get some nice long lugs sticking out, some gold anodized lug nuts. It's gonna look right. It's gonna look very race car-like. See if I can get a good shot of the lip here. Yeah, so like just that consistent, almost magnesium haze, that dark, you know, dark gray, dark aluminum. That's kind of what I'm going for. So, you know, you compare it to one of these. Yeah, and it just looks so much better that way. So what I'm gonna do is probably put something good on TV, see if I can find a race or something, and I'm just gonna start cleaning these up. All right, so the process that I found to get the finish that I wanted, oddly enough, starts with this stuff. This Barkeeper's Friend we use inside on our stainless pans a lot, using it in the sink, on faucets, things like that. And I just happened to think about it because I didn't want to use a polishing compound to really shine it up. And I thought this stuff might help it get a kind of a brushed look. That, along with some of these Scotch-Brite pads. I've got several different coarseness pads here that I've tried. This gray pad, I'm not even really sure what the grit is of it. This seems to work the best for me. I am using this red pad to get down in some of the nooks and crannies. It's a little bit more flexible. It leaves a little bit of a finer finish than the gray, and then I can just kind of go back over it with the gray, and it gives it almost that like dull brushed look. So that's basically what I've been doing. I'll do a little bit here, and I won't bore you guys with like a time lapse of doing every wheel. So I'll just go ahead and try to knock these wheels out, and then come back and we will take this thing off to paint. So I've got a little bit of this cleaned up. I'm gonna have to go over it again. One thing that is important to remember is go in the direction, like in the same direction. Go around the wheel. Don't go side to side. You'll see those scratches. They won't be even. This will give it a more uniform brushed look. And then whenever I get down here to the pedals, I'm gonna go this direction here, and then I'm gonna go this direction here. And for each one of those, and then I'll go around and just be really careful around the edges and then try to blend it all in, just to make it all look nice and even. Not that a bunch of you are gonna use this technique, but just anytime you're sanding something that's gonna be exposed, if you're doing some brushed aluminum, or you're doing, you know, some stainless, you're just putting a certain finish on it, you think about your sanding strokes and which direction you're going, that everything's even and matches up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these wheels done, and I will come back to you guys in a little bit. All right, so I used that process, got the wheels completely cleaned up, all of them are done. Next is the paint. So I just started with one wheel. This is gonna be kind of a test piece for me. I think this is the way that I wanna go, but I'm not gonna go through the trouble of taping them all off and painting them all and then decide I don't like it. So First wheel is all taped up. As you can see, this is the area that I'm painting. Everything else is going to stay that kind of brushed aluminum look. Started off doing the pedals. I used a 3/4 inch. This is a 3M tape. It is a fine line tape, so it'll leave a nice crisp edge. It's somewhat flexible, so I was able to get around the corners and stuff with it reasonably. Then I used this 1/4 inch tape, which is a very fine line tape and it's really flexible, but it doesn't stick the best. So probably because it doesn't have enough surface area. So I just used it around the perimeter to get a nice crisp edge around that. I didn't have to do a bunch of twisting and it doesn't seem like it's gonna lift. So, and then I went around it with the 3/4, and then I just used regular, this is an 1.5 inch blue painter's tape. Use it on the back side of the pedals, use it on the face, use it on the lip, just to keep everything clean. Typically, I would use plastic on the piece of tape and plastic on the lip, and also probably on the back side, but I don't have any plastic and it's pretty late at night. So I just want to get this one wheel done so I can make sure that this is the process that I want to use. So go ahead and get set up to paint this. All right, we're all set up to paint. First, I'm going to put some of this self-etching primer on here. Just going to throw one coat on just to get some good coverage. Since it's aluminum, you need something that's self-etching so it bites into the aluminum. Otherwise, it'll just flake right off. Aluminum's smooth and it's resistant to a lot of paints. So, and then after we've primed it and it's dried for about 30 minutes, then we're going to come back and hit it with this top coat. This is an ultra matte black. It has a matte finish, more like a satin finish versus a flat finish. Flat finishes tend to hold dirt and stuff like that. So whenever you're doing something on wheels, I prefer the matte. It seems like it cleans up a little easier. So that's just my experience on it. All right, that looks pretty good. We're gonna let that dry for about 30 minutes and we'll come back with the base coat. All right, as you can see, I've already got paint on it. For some reason, my camera stopped recording, so I missed that whole painting process. But basically, it's just 2 light coats, one kind of right after another. I work my way around the wheel and I step back and look at it, see if there's any spots that I missed, touch those up if need be, and then go back and do my second coat. It laid down really flat, it's really clean, I don't see any dust or dirt or anything in it. I'm gonna spin it around, I'm gonna start a heater up, not blowing directly on it, but blowing in the area of it. Let this thing get kind of dry, and then I'll decide if, within about 15 minutes, I'll decide if I'm gonna put a second coat on it or not. All right, guys, so it's been about an hour since I put those 2 coats of paint on. I had the heat on it. It dried nice and even. Everything looks really good. I decided not to put a 3rd coat of paint on it. I didn't want to run the risk of having any runs or having any fisheye or anything else that could pop up with another coat. So it's got a really nice, even finish. It's got really sharp lines. All my tape lines turned out really nice. One thing to note, when you're peeling all this tape off, peel away from the paint. Like when you're going around this circle, don't peel straight, peel at a 45-degree angle, peel away, make sure your tape never touches your paint, because even though the paint's dry, it's still soft. And the adhesive from this tape, it'll mess up just about any paint. So yeah, we just got it all peeled off. Super happy with the way it looks. I'm like really happy with the way this looks. I'm definitely using this process on the other 3 wheels. It does take about an hour a wheel to tape up, so I've got 3 hours of taping and painting to do. I'm not even going to put that stuff on video. The next time you guys see these wheels, the tires will be mounted on them, and hopefully we'll be getting closer to at least getting the fronts put on. I still have to swap over the front suspension before I start on all the back stuff, or maybe I'll just wait. We'll see. So if you guys could, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, ask in the comments or hit me up on Instagram. I'm on there fairly often. I get notifications on my phone from that. So I guess I will see you guys next time when we're going to be getting that cleaned up, getting that motor cleaned up, and getting the shop set up to just go hard and get this thing ready for the Ruthless Rally. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.